it. So the fact
I
that
do think they should.
Hogan got so much shit. Like, he didn't release that tape. He
No.
was illegally taped, and it was released. So, like, it's a double-edged sword.
I do think that she should have gotten into some trouble for the load on the NXT Women's Championship. I just want to throw that out there.
That's why, like, literally the week that video got released, the next week is when they debuted the new NXT Women's title. Okay, we can't be having this.
Oh, hell no. Is that what it takes? Somebody quickly go drop a load on the Universal Championship. Bray Wyatt, do this for us.
I'm the only one that can come on them titles.
Damn it, pal! Oh, man. But yeah, so that leads into the next part, too.
Speaking of...
Hold on. I was going to say something about Impact. You know, you mentioned that she's now the Impact champion. So, yeah, middle of this controversy, on top of everything you've got going on, Impact makes her the World Heavyweight Champion, which we've went through the weeds on a couple of times. I'll summarize it by saying the way I feel about it is giving a woman the World Heavyweight Championship for a company like that. I feel like it's degrading the title, not because she's a woman, but we're not degrading the title, but you're degrading the women's title. The women's division is pretty much shot. You pretty much just lost your entire women's division. You can't go back after that. But we're not going into the details. I just wanted to give my thoughts on it. But you know, they're giving her the World Heavyweight Championship or the Impact Championship, whatever it's called. Which we may revisit that subject in a minute because I had another thought, an epiphany. But hold on, there we go. But they gave her the Impact Championship, and middle of all this controversy, you know, everything going on. So people are now attacking Impact, how she's a racist, and they gave their title to a racist, and I don't know. Would you have held back, Sean, if the day before your main event star, who's going to have the title, has all this going around them? Would you have been like, maybe we should put this off for a couple of months until this clears up? Or,
I mean, they very much could have, but I mean, kudos to them for not just jumping on the ship and
cancel
condemning
culture,
her without knowing any facts. Just like with WWE and Enzo Amore, like those allegations came out and boom, they freaking dropped it. Come a couple months later, they found out the chick was lying the whole time and stuff. So like stuff like that, you can't just automatically dish out a punishment. People are real quick to do that nowadays without knowing the facts. Watch come a couple months from now, say it comes out that these people were just lying and slandering her. Now all these people are going to be out there eating crow because they've been calling someone a racist when they're not. So, I mean, you're not going to ever hear me say this again on the show, but I applaud Impact for not just hopping on in the bandwagon and condemning her.
I'm going to clip that out of the show and make an advertisement later on today. Don't think I won't, because I will. When I clip that, just have it repeating itself. I applaud Impact. Do. I applaud Impact. Just have it to a beat, you know.
You're horrible.
I'm going to do it. I cannot fucking wait. That's going to be what I do. I have like a couple of days of vacation left, and I'm spending it doing that. But
super productive, bro.
I know. But no, yeah, I agree. I think that this is a lot of cancel culture, and it's the same thing that happened with Jim Cornette. You know, except Jim Cornette's, we had evidence. We know he said what he said, but I think it was blown a little out of proportion. Even I jumped on that bandwagon at the first until I started really thinking about it, and I can admit when I'm wrong. You know. And I did. I jumped on that bandwagon at first. And see, this time I took a little more time to research it before we did our show and gave our opinion on it. So I am on the fence a bit. You know, it obviously is not a good thing to say.
See, I just hate Jim Cornette. So like,
I know you just hate Jim Cornette.
Said that, I'm like, hang him.
You were just like, hey, Gib. You had your pitchfork ready even before it happened. You're just waiting for something to happen. You're the guy at the front. You're the guy at the front with that makeshift booth selling pitchforks and fucking and torches, and it's like $5.95. There you go. You know. I mean, you're just fucking selling them at great prices.
Pitchfork and the torch combo, you get a free World Wrestling Podcast T-shirt.
We need to make that into an ad. We need to really come up with a couple of ads and just fucking. That'd be a good ad. I think we're gonna do that. I'll have to fucking work on that. But anyways, so on the Tessa thing, like, you know, I hope that this is untrue, and I hope it's all bullshit and it was all just hater culture. If it ever comes out to be 100% true, I think there will have to be some kind of repercussions for it, because it wasn't right. Even 3 years ago, it wasn't right. Now, do I think that it was right for them to bring it out right before her biggest match of her entire life? No, because that's exactly what that was, and we know what that was. It sounded like she probably did have a bullying problem, and then these girls, you know, stood up, oh, you know, she said this, that, and this is the perfect time to fucking make her life a living hell. So I don't know. Am I still a Tessa Blanchard fan? Yeah, I'm gonna have to say I am, because she's very skilled. You know, she has a great ring presence. I just watched a match with her and Nick Gage last night on IWTV for just $9.99 a month. By the way, really good stuff. Really good stuff there. We'll talk a little more about that later on in the show.
But real quick before we jump ship, since we're talking about controversy and stuff like that, have you heard anything about the Triple H Page shit going down right
Yeah,
now?
that's actually what I was about to talk about next. What was that? So basically, what happened was, yeah, it was a great segue. Get out of my head, dude. It was good. Basically, what happened was this. He was doing an interview with some British wrestling podcast or a British wrestling magazine or something of that sort. They're popular on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook. And they were talking about something. I don't know the actual question, but I know he pretty much made a bad quagmire joke, a bad sexual person joke, where they were talking about somebody, you know, in their family. And he's like, yeah, and Paige probably has some family out there she doesn't even know about. And so basically what he was saying in this is that she's a whore and probably has kids out there she's never met. But, Trips, you fucked the joke up because she's not a man. You see, it doesn't work. If you're a woman, you have the kids. And you really can't forget having that child. So, you know, I'm sure if she has any illegitimate children, they're very legitimate, and she's met them at least once. So, and that's basically what happened. I think that the internet blew it the fuck up out of proportion. But from what I gather, Paige was actually offended by it. And I'm sorry, Paige. Come on. You know,
right.
It was a stupid joke.
That's the part I seen. I didn't see what Triple H initially said. I just seen the whole, like, internet world explode after.
Yeah.
Like, it was all over Twitter and everything. Like, people were, like, super heated. Paige is actually engaged, or she's with the lead singer of Falling in Reverse. His name's Ronnie Radke. He even took to Twitter and, like, put Triple H on blast and stuff for it. So I was like, oh, dang. Because I'm a Falling in Reverse fan, so, like, I follow them as well. So when I saw Ronnie Radke pop up, dropping Triple H in his tweets and shit, I was like, oh, dang. Like, then Triple H issued a half-assed apology this week. I didn't realize what the whole story was. I just knew people were, like, super pissed about it.
I think that Paige is kind of overdoing it as well. I think that this was it was a stupid joke. It was a badly done joke. It was a joke in poor taste as well. You know, I think that the internet blew it the fuck up too, out of proportion. I think that honestly, should have Trips had to apologize for it? I mean, yeah, sort of. I just don't think it should have been rolled into this big fucking snowball of shit, you know? Did Paige do porn or have a sex tape? Yeah, she did, you know, but we've all really gotten past that, you know what I'm saying? Except for you, who has it on a shortcut on every, you know, social media device and internet device that you've got to get to quickly. But that's not the point. it's over and done. And then the joke was just it was stupid. It was very stupid, poorly done, in poor taste joke from Trips. And I mean, I think, like I said, I think it's just been blown out of fucking proportion. It really wasn't that offensive. He didn't jump on there and call her like, "You fucking slag," kind of stupid bullshit. Like it was just a stupid joke. Sean, you there? Oh, we may have lost Sean, guys.
No, I'm here.
Okay, there you are. But yeah,
I was actually trying to see if I can find the tweet that he put out. It was like he was blasting WWE as a company and everything.
I mean, as a professional company, it wasn't a very good idea for him to do that. That's something like you'd say to like a friend in the locker room, like make a joke or something. And maybe not tell Paige if she's that so like snowflakey about it. But it's just not something a professional company would do. So, moving on. Another thing I wanted to bring up was Kurt Angle's statements here of recent. Basically, I didn't get the article, but it comes down to this. He said there was like a 10-year period where he was the greatest wrestler in the business. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Only because, like, Kurt was great. Kurt was awesome. At his prime, he was one of the best wrestlers. But he wasn't the best wrestler in the company, or in the business at least.
I would say, honestly, he's not wrong. Would I give it a 10-year period? No, probably like a good 5-year. It's during that time I like to call the dark ages of wrestling. It was after the Attitude Era. It was after the Attitude Era when we had like Batista coming up, and we were getting these like really crappy storylines, like the Hornswoggle being Vince McMahon's son, and Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio fighting for custody of Dominic in a ladder match. You had like all these really, really shitty storylines going at this time. And, you had guys like John Cena, Chris Jericho, Kurt Angle, that were the like legit only ones putting on quality matches at this time. I mean, we got the Kurt Angle Shawn Michaels match around during that time frame as well. So would I say during that time that Kurt Angle was the best wrestler in the world? Hands down, I would say that he was the veteran status. John Cena was still coming up. I mean, Chris Jericho was there, but Chris Jericho is one of them people that always just like comes and goes. You can't rely on Chris Jericho to be your workhorse. AEW is doing it, and we're gonna see what happens come a couple months from now when Fozzy goes on another world tour. See how they work around Jericho's schedule with that. But during that time, like I said, that's what I always refer to anybody I talk about that time period. That's the dark ages of wrestling. During that time, I would hands down agree that Kurt Angle was the best in the world, because he would, like I said, him, Cena, Jericho, Batista was coming up at that time too. These were the guys that were putting on the quality matches during that time. Those were the guys who were putting on matches that you were looking forward to. The reason I sat through a 3-hour Raw is because I knew the main event was going to be worth freaking a Billy and Chuck wedding, or a Hornswoggle getting mauled to death by JBL in a steel cage. Like there was just like shit story hiding, freaking Michael Cole getting raped in a closet every week by Heidenreich. Freaking these were the stuff going on at this time, and these guys made you look forward to the main event because you knew you were going to get some kind of quality. So, like I said, there's a couple times I'm going to say it now. I agree with Kurt. Would I say 10 years? No. I give it a good 5-year frame that, yeah, he was the best, because people didn't like Ring of Honor was around, New Japan was around. but they hadn't quite achieved the level of success that like